On April 28, 1789, the British ship HMS Bounty was on a mission to transport breadfruit plants from Tahiti to the West Indies as a cheap source of food for slaves. The ship's captain, William Bligh, was known for his harsh and abusive treatment of his crew. After spending several months on Tahiti, tensions between the crew and Captain Bligh reached a breaking point, and the crew, led by Fletcher Christian, mutinied. They seized control of the ship and cast Bligh and 18 loyal crew members adrift in a small boat. Bligh and his men navigated the treacherous waters of the Pacific to reach Timor, a journey of more than 3,500 nautical miles. Meanwhile, Christian and his mutineers sailed the Bounty back to Tahiti, where they tried to establish a new colony. However, they were eventually caught by the Royal Navy and brought to justice. On April 28, 1945, towards the end of World War II, Italian dictator Benito Mussolini was captured by Italian partisans while attempting to flee to Switzerland. Mussolini had been leading the fascist government of Italy since 1922 and was a key ally of Germany during the war. As the tide of the war turned against the Axis powers, Mussolini's grip on power began to weaken. He was eventually deposed by the Italian government, and Germany occupied Italy in response. Mussolini continued to support the German war effort from his base in northern Italy until his capture. After his capture, Mussolini was summarily executed by firing squad, along with his mistress, Clara Petacci. The execution and subsequent display of their bodies in public was seen as a symbolic victory for the Allied forces and the Italian resistance. On April 28, 1947, Norwegian adventurer and ethnographer Thor Heyerdahl set out on a journey to prove his theory that Polynesia was originally settled by people from South America rather than Asia, as was commonly believed. Heyerdahl and a crew of 5 men set sail from Callao, Peru on a balsa-wood raft that he named Kon-Tiki, after the legendary Inca sun god. The 101-day journey covered more than 4,300 miles across the Pacific Ocean, and the crew faced numerous challenges, including storms, shark attacks, and water shortages. Despite these difficulties, the crew successfully reached the Tuamotu Islands in French Polynesia. The Kon-Tiki expedition was widely celebrated as a triumph of human bravery and ingenuity and helped to challenge prevailing theories about the origins of Polynesian civilization. Heyerdahl went on to write a best-selling book about his experience, which was later adapted into a documentary film that won an Academy Award in 1951. On April 28, 1952, the Treaty of San Francisco went into effect, formally ending World War II and restoring Japan's sovereignty. The treaty was signed in San Francisco, California, in September 1951, by 48 countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan. It was the final peace treaty that officially ended World War II. The treaty recognized Japan's sovereignty and independence and required Japan to renounce all claims to former colonies and territories, including Korea, Taiwan, and the South Pacific Mandate. In exchange, the treaty granted Japan membership in the United Nations and access to foreign aid and trade. On April 28, 1967, boxer Muhammad Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, refused to be drafted into the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. Ali cited his religious beliefs as a member of the Nation of Islam and his opposition to the war as reasons for his refusal. Ali was subsequently stripped of his heavyweight title and faced a prison sentence for draft evasion. He appealed his case all the way to the Supreme Court, which eventually overturned his conviction in 1971. Ali's refusal to serve in the military made him a controversial figure at the time, with some viewing him as a traitor and others hailing him as a hero for his stand against the war. In later years, Ali's decision to resist the draft came to be seen as an act of courage and principle, and he became an iconic figure both in the sports world and the broader cultural landscape.